I think it's been a tremendous day, wide-ranging discussions, huge amount of things to go away and think about, and there's absolutely no way that I can summarize the day session by session, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not even going to try to do it. I'm just going to try and pick out really three key messages that struck me, and maybe there is a resonance with the audience as well. But before I do, can I just thank, I think everyone will join me in thanking all our speakers today, our panel speakers, our main speakers, all the contributions on the floor. Thank you very much indeed. It's been a tremendous day. So very briefly, in a few minutes, the three things I wanted to say was first, I felt that today demonstrated very powerfully that land is back as a central policy issue in Scotland, as symbolised, but not exclusively symbolised, by the establishment of the Commission and the work of the Commission. But I think it's back in a fresh and a different way, because land is not, I think, considered a policy outcome. In other words, the fallout of all other kinds of policy, and you think of land at the end of that. I think increasingly land is seen as a policy input. And by that I mean, land is seen as an opportunity now to shape a whole host of cross-cutting policies across the work of government and beyond. In terms, for example, we've talked about economic development, we've talked about climate change, we've talked about tackling deprivation and inequality today, and many, many more. And I think we realise that land has to be considered at the beginning of the policy journey and not falling out at the end. And I must say this is, to me, back to the future, because when I first took economics, we were told that there were three factors of production: land, labour and capital. And actually, over the years, land got a little bit forgotten. And I think people now realise the importance of land as a factor of production and as an influence on effective and efficient policy making. Secondly, I think it's evident from today, but also from the many different reports the Commission has produced over our first 2.5 years of existence, that people are increasingly thinking of land holistically, of thinking of the connectivity, of the relationship between one aspect of land and the other. So when people say land is either about use or ownership or management, we can say that's a fallacy. It's about all three. It's about the connections between all three. It's about urban Scotland and rural Scotland. It's not about one or the other. And it's about the relationship between land in urban Scotland and rural Scotland. So I think the second point I want to make is the conference, I think, to me, has drawn out very well that land is and needs to be treated as an integrated resource. We need to see it as a way that can connect a whole host of different important issues together. And I'm sure as we go forward, that theme will become stronger. The multifaceted dimension of land is demonstrated very clearly in the emphasis the Commission has put on substantial evidence as opposed to polemic. And all the reports that James outlined for us in his presentation, they are all not written off the top of the head. They're all the result of very substantial consideration. And I think that's the way forward. Now, thirdly, and almost finally, I want to talk about another theme that came out to me today. I don't know if it came out to you, but it came out to me, of the way in which the Commission's work has highlighted the need that if we are indeed going to make more of Scotland's land, which is our strapline, that depends both on in-depth research, but it also depends on action on the ground. And it's neither one nor the other. We are almost some kind of think tank, I guess, in terms of we are trying to look extensively about land issues within Scotland and indeed well beyond Scotland, but we're also trying to shape what happens on a day-to-day basis through our community engagement programme, through, for example, the 10 Farming Commissioners' codes, through the regular public meetings. And I think it's the interaction between the sort of broad thinking that the Commission has undertaken and the engagement with the people of Scotland on a day-to-day basis that is very important. In other words, it's not action or research, it's trying to bring action and research together. We have, obviously, a relatively small budget. It does worry me sometimes that we've taken an awful lot on in a very short space of time and we now need to deliver, but we have a fantastic and a dynamic staff who are leading the way on that. And I think we've begun to address a huge range of land-based issues by bringing action and research together. So I hope today has been enjoyable for you. I hope you found it worthwhile. And the Commission, I can assure you, will continue to stimulate fresh thinking on all these issues. And in doing so, we value your continued relationship with us, your comments, your collaboration, and your challenge, I think, as we move forward to the next stage of the agenda. So thank you very much for coming, and thank you for the day.